Hello everyone and welcome to Strong, Smart and Kind SSK Foundation workshop. Our topic for today is how to self-care and why it's important, especially during this time of global pandemic. And I do apologize because the beginning section of our first speaker got cut off, so you'll be hearing only part of the presentation. I guess this just means that you're going to have to join in on our workshop next time physically. So without further ado, let's get started.
And our blood pressures go through the roof, and a prolonged case of all of these symptoms will lead to problems down the line. It will lead to fatigue. So all of these overreactive responses in our body, it robs us of our sleep. It robs us of our nutrition. It robs us of our peace and serenity. And what happens? What does that do to our relationships? I'm sure we all have had experience where we've coped for so long, we've held it in for so long that we snap at our children, our partner, our friends, our colleagues. So it's very damaging to ourselves and to our relationships. If we do not manage our stress, it starts to seep into our inability to rest, to focus, to concentrate, and then our career suffers. And of course, the health damages. Some of it is irreversible if we continue down this path of just coping. So what I want to show you, I want to demonstrate some very easy breathing and meditation tools that you can do. My intention today was to do a quick yoga demonstration as well, but because I had this minor head injury today, I was instructed to lie down. So I'm lying down in bed as I speak to you all and trying my best to keep you engaged with only my voice and no other visually stimulating things to capture your attention other than my voice and the content of what I'm saying. And I really appreciate you for listening and tuning in. So the first thing I would like us to practice is 3 very simple breathing exercises that you can do anytime, any day when you are feeling stressed, when you are feeling overwhelmed. Instead of reaching for your phone or reaching for whatever it is that is your form of escapism, because we all have it, these are 3 things that you can do. So number 1, find a place where you can sit for a few minutes. And I promise you, you're going to enjoy some of these so much that a few minutes turns into an hour. I know it sounds unbelievable, but I'm talking from someone who never could sit still to someone who have meditated for 3 hours straight. So it's doable. So the first one I would like us to try is called breathing 1, 2, 3. So you simply sit still, and you can even do this with me now. You can just sit still in a comfortable position, preferably seated with your feet flat on the floor and your arms resting beside you, palms facing up or palms facing down on your knee, whichever is comfortable. So go ahead and relax your limbs and relax your neck and just sit in a most comfortable position. And we're going to be breathing and counting steadily in and out. So I'm going to count 1 through 5, and we're going to breathe in. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can do that as long as you need for those stress responses in your body to come back to neutral. Now, I've done this with kindergarteners, first graders, middle schoolers, high schoolers, elder, all age groups. And the thing that it does is it brings your attention to your breath, to the thing that is most natural. Everyone is born with a breath, and that's all you need. So the lesson is that we don't need anything external. All we need is ourselves and our attention and our breath to bring peace back to us. So that's very powerful. We don't need anything external. The only thing we need is our breath. It's all within us already. So that's one. And then the second one is a visualization. And you're basically visualizing that you're breathing in all this calm, peace, serenity, and positivity, and you breathe out the chaos, stress, and negativity. And I'll do a quick demonstration here. So go ahead and bring yourself to the same posture as before, sitting comfortably relaxed. Now go ahead and take a deep breath in through your nose. Breathe in serenity, peace, calm, positivity. Breathe out the chaos, stress, negativity. Breathe in the peace, serenity, calm. Breathe out the chaos, stress, negativity. So that's another very simple exercise for those of you who like to have a simple visual. So you're just breathing in and you're imagining this peace entering through your body and just going through the rest of your body, and you're breathing out all the stress. And the last one is called a progressive muscle relaxation. So for this one, you can lie down as well. And this is actually a really wonderful exercise for those nights that you find you're up because you can't relax your mind and you're having a hard time falling asleep. This is called progressive muscle relaxation. And it's good for any time of day, but in particular, if you're having a hard time falling asleep. So you would sit or you would lie down and you would relax every muscle in your body. So start by scanning the top of your head, all tension gone, ears, tension gone, neck, no tension, shoulders, no tension, stomach, no tension, hips, no tension, knees, no tension, ankle, no tension, toes relaxed. Everything is relaxed. Everything is relaxed. Remember, there are certain parts of our body that we tend to hold on to tension. Even though we think we're relaxed, there is a part of our body where we hold on to tension. Let that go. Now, what I would like to do is bring your attention to your fingertips. Attention to your fingertips. Now clench your fingers. Clench, hold, tight, clench, clench, release. Clench your fingers tight, hold, 1, 2, 3, tight, tension, release. Attention on your toes. Clench, hold, tension, tight, and release. Shoulders, tight, tension, hold the tension in your shoulders. Now release. So that's a very quick demonstration, and I went pretty quickly there. But what you do is you can start on any part of your body and you can move up or down, and you just tense up your muscles and you hold it and then you release. So that contrast of tension and release relaxes your muscles. And if you do that maybe a few minutes, it really softens your mood and it relaxes your body, and it's a really relaxing way to fall asleep. So those are 3 simple breathing exercises that you can do. And I was going to talk more about yoga, but because of time and my state of being, I'm going to skip that. A very simple self-regulating tool is nature. And I'm just going to quickly talk about nature and the concept of earthing. So earth, as in E-A-R-T-H, our earth, and earthing. Now, when I think of joy, when I think of the true deepest essence of joy, the first thing that comes to my mind is children. So think about a child that you know. Think about children that you have observed. They are just naturally joyful. And what is it that makes them so naturally joyful is because they are so connected to nature. When you want to give kids these high-tech stimulating toys, what do they want? They want the box. They want just to roll around in mud. And so the greatest things that bring people human joy is really nature. But we lose that because we're in the society that pushes all of this, consumerism and technology on us. But think back to all the simplest things, and we can do visualization now, and maybe you can make your realization a reality later on. So you can close your eyes again, and these are some visualizations you can have. So just imagine the sound of rain pitter-pattering on the floor, on the ground, on your window pane. That soothing sound of raindrops, so soothing, puts you to sleep. The rain has stopped, you open the door, you step outside, you take a deep breath in, and you smell this intoxicating scent of the rain. How the air smells after the rain is so pleasurable. And then you see water and you see puddles everywhere, and you just jump and splash in the water. And as you splash and the water jumps, it just brings so much joy. As you keep walking, you encounter some mud, and you take off your flip-flops and you step into this mud, and you just squish your toes into the mud, and you just feel how squishy, how soft. As you keep walking, you approach some grass. You step onto the grass and you wipe your feet across the grass to clean off your toes, and then you start to just brush your toes and the bottom of your feet across the grass. And how soothing is that? Those soft blades of grass in contact with your toes. Then you decide to put your hand on the grass and just run your fingers through the blades, and they tickle and soothe you. And imagine now you're at the beach. You take off your shoes and you just stick your toes into the sand. And as you lift up your toes, the sand falls. And that soothing softness of that sand, it's like a free massage of nature. So all of those things you visualize, and I hope you can see that even visualizing these beautiful earth elements soothes us. So when you have free time, go connect with nature and go do those things. So that is pretty much all I want to share today. The idea of self-regulation, connecting with nature, and simple breathing. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Lucy. And if you have questions or comments or concerns, feel free to put it in the chat box now, and then Lucy can address those. And just to let you know, you are on mute, so if you do want to talk, you have to unmute yourself. Also, make sure you tag SSK on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're watching this, take a picture of it and post it on there and tag us. And if you do have questions, even if you're watching this on a rebroadcast afterwards, please continue to engage and put in your questions, because I still do jump in after the events go live, and I will answer the questions. And the questions that I can't answer, I will make sure I will get it to the right personnel to answer those questions, and I'll always get back to you. Marlene says, thank you for leading us with the different yoga exercises despite your minor accident. Okay, that was for you, Lucy.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
So I have a question here for you, Lucy.
Yes.
How long have you been doing yoga? And people are using yoga for flexibility and physical fitness, but how does it relate, or how impactful is it to your mindset?
That's a great question. My first yoga class was when I was 18 years old at UC Berkeley. So I've been doing yoga roughly almost 20 years now. And yes, yoga has evolved into a form of fitness and exercise, and that's how it's become very popular. But if we connect the roots, if we trace back the roots to like the philosophy of yoga and how it was developed, it was bringing mindfulness into our body. So even though people may be taking yoga at an exercise gym or a studio, some of the things that are still true is that you're paying attention to your posture. You are paying attention to your breathing as you are getting into postures and holding postures. Okay. So as you're holding posture, what you find is that um, you start to feel some pain or discomfort, and you start to want to give up. But your mind starts to overcome that. Your mind starts to say, no, I can hold it just for a few minutes more. Yes, I'm breaking a sweat, but I'm going to hold this posture. The instructor is saying 5 more seconds, 4 more seconds, 3 more seconds. Yes, I did it. So now you've overcome mind over matter, in which you thought, oh, I can't hold this posture, it's too hard for me, but you overcome that. And so through this process of facing challenge and holding a posture, the determination and the resilience of holding on, and of not giving up, and mind over matter, all of those things are themes in life. So you'll notice in yoga there are postures that are about balance, because in life you need balance. And in yoga there are flexibility, which means in life you have to be flexible. And in yoga you have to have stamina, which also is a theme in life. So when you examine yoga as an exercise, you'll notice that those themes also tie back to how we thrive as humans. So that's an interesting thing. I think I can go on forever. So I hope that answers your question as to how yoga is an exercise form that is also tying us back to mindfulness. So I hope I answered that question.
Thank you, Lucy.
Perfect. So I was saying thank you to Lucy for bringing us through such a beautiful mindfulness session. It was very relaxing. Now I have to try to get myself back to focus on doing this presentation. So a little bit about myself. I am Anita Chan, owner of Anita B Spa in San Francisco. I've been in the beauty and wellness industry for 23 years and have worked with over 2,000 clients on various treatments. Over the last 23 years, I've worked in major luxury and medical spas before starting my own business, which I've grown from a studio next to my garage into a location with several treatment rooms and a team of 7 people, 7 estheticians. So, give me 1 second. There we go. So, I've been invited today here to talk about self-care. It's been quite the trending word, and I want to talk about what is self-care. Over the years, during countless hours with my clients, I've learned a few things about self-care and how vital it is for our wellness. Self-care is dedicating the time and energy on nourishing the mind and body. So exactly what Lucy has been talking about, connecting the mind and body, and that's very important, and we're learning now how to do that. It is a daily practice, a lifestyle, and a commitment to your own well-being. The spa setting has been the best place for me to see how people practice self-care. I've observed a pattern in which clients neglect their own self-care once a major life event happens, such as becoming a parent, losing a job, or a health crisis like the one we are currently facing. This was a pattern I've seen happen in my own life as well. From an early age, I've watched my mom overwork herself to support our family, neglecting self-care, and as a result, suffered a debilitating repetitive stress injury. At age 25, I found that I had perpetuated this cycle and also got injured from overworking, causing physical and mental burnout. I realized if I continued the same path as my mom, I too would end up with a chronic work injury. So I was adamant that I was not going to repeat the same story. It's been a stressful time to say the least during the current health and economic crisis. Businesses like my own have been mandated to shut down, jobs lost, and distance learning is often the topic of my group chats, with lots of coffee emojis that quickly turn into wine emojis and then tequila bottles at the end of the night. So now more than ever, my conference calls with the beauty and spa industry has been focused on wellness and mental health, a crisis we will see affect all generations. And mental health, I want to say, is still a topic that people are, they don't want to talk about too much, but we will see moving forward from what we're going through right now, that mental health is going to become a very, very important topic to talk about. So going back to why is self-care important? Children learn from the examples set by their parents, as I did with my mom. That's why it's so important to set the precedent of health being a foundation to every aspect of your life. Being in the beauty industry, it's often misunderstood that beauty is only vanity. Taking care of yourself is beyond appearance. I find myself constantly reminding my clients in the treatment room that your skin is a window to what's going on inside your body. Oftentimes, what we see externally is a manifestation of what's going on internally. Investing the little amount of time in yourself every day will yield more clarity, energy, and happiness to focus on productivity and relationships. As the expression goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Traveling and going to the spa has always been my way of relaxation, but those are things we currently can't do. So I want to share some practices I've been doing to stay well until it's safe to do the things that I love. And while I'm doing that, please feel free to jump in if you have any questions and if you want me to elaborate on any tips that I'm sharing, okay? So I start my day with 10 minutes of stretching every morning. When we sleep, our muscles relax, blood flow decreases, and heart rate slows. Our muscles stiffen up from laying in the same position, so stretching will help loosen up our joints for better mobility and the blood flowing again to start the day energized. Next, I end my day with 20 minutes of meditation every night before we go to sleep. So meditation will help clear the mind of the day's activities to start your slumber with a calmness so that the next day begins with positivity. Going back to what Lucy brought us through, I had my own struggles with meditation when I first started hearing this. We've always heard about the positivities of meditation and what it can bring to our lives, but I just was one of those people that just had so much chatter, I couldn't shut my mind off. So I got introduced to some of my favorite apps that I'm currently using is the Calm app, and or you can just search on YouTube guided meditations. And it's very similar to what we went through with Lucy. It's just learning how to breathe. I was gonna do a little bit of breathing exercise, but we've already went through that with Lucy, and you can feel already how relaxing that is. Something as easy as really breathing. And for me, I've been told all my life when I work out, you're not breathing enough, you're not breathing enough. And we don't realize how much we don't breathe. A lot of times when we are doing something, we tend to hold our breath and our body starts to then lack oxygen. So what I also learned with meditation is that instead of trying so hard to tell your mind to quiet down, to allow yourself to focus in on what it is that is boggling your mind. Allow your mind to go there. And from there, being mindful and focusing on letting it go. So if it's work, if it's family, acknowledging that those thoughts are in your life and then letting it go. So that's how I slowly learned how to do meditation. Next is having a balanced diet to keep your body fueled throughout the day. So I prefer a plant-based diet during the week so that I can enjoy delicious meals with friends over the weekend and now, over Zoom. And that way I don't feel guilty about ordering ice cream for dessert. Unfortunately, I'm not a good cook, so I do rely on food delivery services like Territory that helps me keep track of what ingredients I'm putting in my body and how many calories I'm intaking. So right now we're seeing in social media, everybody's everybody's starting to bake or do all these things, it is a good time to really start learning what are the truth about what we should put in our body and how it fuels us. And not only that, we're starting to learn a lot about nutrition and how it affects our mind as well. So it goes really hand in hand, what we eat, our gut, digestion, and how our mind works. So that's something that's very important. And food can be medicine. So next would be choosing a workout that you enjoy to do. This also goes back to yoga. It helps keep a healthy mind. It keeps the aches and the pains away. So I personally myself work with personal trainers for a customized plan because my body is put in a vulnerable position with work. So I do specific strength building so that it can kind of work on areas that my muscles get vulnerable. And then as the byproduct, of course, I stay nice and firm. So what I found was finding exercises that you enjoy, because if you have to drag yourself to the gym or do something that you're dreading, it becomes a stressor in life as well. So there are so many options out there now, like Zumba, or even now hiking. So exactly going back to what Lucy was saying is nature. Now so many people are appreciating what nature can provide for us. So those are things that we can start practicing a little bit more for self-care. Next is developing a daily skincare ritual, because I think this is one of the few things that you can see a noticeable difference from your commitment to a daily practice in a relatively short time. We all need to see and feel results to stay motivated. That's why I developed my pre-cleanse product called a Fresh Start Cleanser to help protect and prep your skin for the rest of your regimen. And I started this in mind to really get people to start being consistent with what they're doing on their skin on a daily basis. And once you kind of get an idea of what works for you, it's much easier to continue it and practice it, and you'll slowly start to see your skin improve as well. So that's really how you can really get that ritual going morning and night. Next would be scheduling self-care Sunday to do your facial massaging, masking to depuff the face with lymphatic drainage, and rehydrate for plump cells. This is something that I think is so important for all of us. Make sure that your family knows this is your me time, or better yet, have them join and just block off that time. Set it in your schedule and make sure that every Sunday, or whichever day it is that works for you, that is your day that you spend on yourself or with your family. You can always visit our Instagram at AnitaBSpa.com for Anita B Spa for tips and tricks on how to do facial massaging. And so there's a lot of information that is out there now on how to pamper yourself without having to spend money or use external things. So are you not surprised that everything I shared has been things we've heard time and time again? Yet we struggle with making ourselves priority. There's no secret formula to self-care that JLo or Beyonce knows about. We just have to realize that we are loved by the ones we are caring for. So practicing self-care and self-love is the best we can do in return.
Awesome. Thank you, Anita. So if anyone has questions, please feel free to ask it now. When you mentioned skin is a window to what's inside your body, can you emphasize a little bit more on that, please?
Yes, definitely. So our nutrition and even maybe the lack of movement will always show in our body. So when we have clients that come in that have acne in certain areas, or wrinkles, things like that, we can typically tell what has been lacking or what has been too much in their body. And so there is a science between like where you're breaking out and the correlation of what that is to the organs with our body. But ultimately, when we see clients, I always ask about their lifestyle. I always ask about their diet. I always ask about what's going on in their lives, because oftentimes I tell my team that we're not only treating the skin, we're not only treating external, we are there to be their friend. We are there to listen to what's going on. And a lot of times my clients will tell me that felt like a therapy session. But it's not because I'm a therapist. It's because they took that 1 hour or an hour and a half to focus on themselves, to be pampered, and to maybe have somebody to just listen in on them. So a lot of times we'll see stress build up, and they will, we tend to tighten, our tension. We tend to have tension, tighten certain parts of our muscle, and that's why we call it kind of emotional lines rather than wrinkles. So that's really what I mean about the internal external manifestation.
Got it. So David said that you can also use Peloton, or he uses Peloton app as well for yoga. And Kemi said that there's also Synctuition app, I believe she said, for yoga. So those are some of the other options outside of the Calm app if you're interested. And this question is for both Lucy and Anita. Is breathing through your nose important? What's the difference between breathing through your nose versus your mouth?
Should I let Lucy answer that?
I don't think I have a right answer for that. I think it's important to breathe through both. There are exercises that are emphasizing only breathing through the nose, an alternate nostril. And then there's breathing exercises through the mouth. And I think doing both. And I don't remember specifically in any philosophy class in yoga if they said one was more important than the other. It could just be bringing your awareness to one or the other as a different form of exercise. But it's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I do think it is important to breathe through your nose, though, and your mouth.
Anita?
Yeah, I personally, I inhale through my nose, and then I exhale through my mouth. And what I like to do, what actually feels really good for me, is once I inhale, I kind of hold my breath a little bit at the top of it. And then when I exhale, it's a little bit longer than I inhale. And that just feels a total relaxation in my body.
Awesome. So David shared that when working out, I breathe in through my nose and out through the mouth. Me too, David. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask them now. And one of the things that I want to also mention is that, it's very important. Sleep is very important. And most people don't actually get the right amount of sleep. And when you do sleep, most people don't have the right type of sleep as well. Just because you close your eyes and you go to bed, you have to make sure that you sleep through those straight 6 hours or 8 hours, whatever, depending on your body, whatever your body needs. So if you have enough sleep, then this will translate to, obviously more suboptimal performance, and well-rested individuals get more out of life in the long run, because obviously you have more energy, you have a happier outlook in life, and you have more patience for everybody too.
Yeah, can I add definitely the importance of sleeping. For myself, when I'm stressed out, I don't have a problem falling asleep because I just have so much going on in the day and I get really tired, but I always end up waking up and not being able to fall back asleep. So this is where I discovered meditation and the guided meditations, since I haven't mastered meditating on my own yet. But just putting on some kind of guided meditation, either a voice like Lucy's that's very pleasant, or music or chanting, that really allowed me to free my mind and allow my body to acknowledge it's time to rest. So sleep, there are many, many studies of how sleep deprivation can affect how our mind works and how our body works. And of course, it definitely will show in our skin as well.
Yeah, and then also right now is a time for you to share your experience. So I encourage our participants to share your story of how you self-care, or if you don't self-care, then if you can share a couple of reasons of why you haven't been doing any self-care. You can either type the story in the chat box, or if it's just faster just to talk, go ahead and unmute yourself. This is a community time for us to share with each other and listen and support with each other. So please feel free to share your story of how to self-care, or if you've been too busy or you feel guilty, please share with us why you haven't shared self-care.
Hi, this is May. I do self-care by journaling. When I, feel anxious and I don't know, like I feel unsettled, and I, do my journaling, write everything down, and that helps me a lot to stay calm.
Thank you, May. Yes, I also love to journal, especially I have a gratefulness book that I try to do every day. And if not, definitely at least 4 to 5 times a week, just to have a basic acknowledgement of life and gratefulness. Starting out the day with gratefulness definitely start out my day well. Anybody else would like to share their story? Anybody here doesn't do any self-care that they want to give us a reason why?
So Teresa, I do see a question that I would like to answer. Somebody asked, what advice would you give to a family member who doesn't care about taking care of him or herself? I feel like that's so important now that we're all cooped up in the house with our family members, so we see each other's habits. And I think that in that situation, a little bit of time on realizing what works for them, so what they enjoy doing, and then from there kind of honing in on how to substitute their interest in turning into self-care. Of course, you yourself practicing it on a daily basis, going back to what I mentioned about parents and how we lead by example, will slowly allow them to see either a happier you, a healthier you, more glowing. That hopefully will lead them towards that right path. But ultimately, self-care is different for everybody. I myself love going to the spas and getting massages, things like that. Some people don't like to be touched. That's totally understandable. But there's different ways to self-care. There is exercising, there is even playing a game of chess, having time with friends and family, people that you enjoy. That is a form of self-care as well. So it doesn't have to be anything that you're spending a huge amount on. It could just be something that you enjoy, and that is self-care.
Awesome, thank you. And then John shared that the way he self-care is he go on evening walks and putting a motivational podcast on. That's awesome.
Well, besides all the community work that I've been doing, I have always been, for the last few months, I've been helping an elderly aunt. In fact, I just returned from taking care of her, so I'm kind of exhausted. But I have many, many interests and, many hobbies as well. And when I get stressed out, I like to putter around and take care of my plants, and so I get excited when I see my seeds growing up into saplings and see my plants doing so well. Those are my sense of excitement, which But ultimately, growing up, I really was very inspired by a Chinese saying, which essentially says that when you look up, there are always people better than you, but when you look down, there are millions, or I exaggerate, worse than you. So I am very grateful for a lot of things that I have, many wonderful students, many wonderful people that I encounter. So I find myself to be very blessed. And even, with this COVID thing, I just say that, I don't know how lucky I am, how can I help other people less fortunate? I just thought about the bombing at Beirut. And in fact, you probably saw in my Facebook that I talk a lot about the environmental issues. I really, really wish that these so-called world leaders would do something, because in the next 10 years, it will be more unlivable. We are talking about the devastation now, but in the next 10 years, I think it will be worse. So I hope we, in our own way, should do something every day to see how we can help Mother Earth. Those are the things that help me. Thank you.
I agree. And I think that in order to help others, I believe that we have to be healthy ourselves. So that is why self-care is so important. And I have a question for all of the men in the room. For those who like to work out and are very social butterflies. How do you cope with this COVID that you can't actually go to a gym or you can't work out with your buddies? How do you take care of yourself physically? I know for a fact 3 men in here do go to the workout. So
Yeah, I still work out. I try to ride the bike in the morning, and then in the evenings I usually do weights. So I try to get 2 sessions in a day. I was really religious about it, in the beginning of COVID, and then I fell off, a couple of injuries, here and there, and then getting back onto it. I've been about 10 days straight trying to get back on that same regimen. It's a lot harder. I have all the equipment here, but it's really tough to have the desire to wake up every day and work out. At one point I think I was 60 days straight, and then I fell off for 8 days and now I'm back on it. But it's the discipline and the mindset to really force yourself to change your daily habits and jump in and do the workouts, right? A lot of people don't have that drive and it's hard to find it. So I try to help my friends get it as well. It's all about your health, right? So that's kind of how I do it on the workouts. But when it comes to like hanging out with friends, we do our Zoom meetings, we'll have this cigar time, cocktail hour, and we just catch up. Most recently, we're still kind of keeping away from people, but we have friends come over from time to time, and then they'll hang out in the driveway for a little bit, and at least we'll have some interaction, and I'll be in the garage, but we keep our distance, and everybody wears a mask because you just can't track where people have been. And we have people in our household that, are high risk, so I have to worry about them. So
yeah,
it's
definitely.
tough.
Thank you, David. Anita, there's a question for you. So for those who can't afford to go to the spas, is there something that you can recommend at home, just a simple spa treatment that they can do for themselves at home or something similar?
Absolutely, yes. Because of the pandemic, a lot of our vendors have actually come out with kits, facial kits at home that they can do. So if you go onto our website or Sephora, you're going to see plenty of facial at-home kits, as well as just using what you have. You don't even have to purchase new products. It's more so of the act of taking care of your skin that's going to be more effective, and the consistency, rather than what you're using. Of course, using products that's appropriate for your skin is very important. We are doing things like Zoom consultations now, so that people can get their answers on, what's going on with their skin. Their skin has changed because of wearing a mask all the time, something we call maskne. And so there are all these options now of getting professional help without having to go into the spa or spending a ton of money. Just doing what you have at home will kind of guide you through what works.
Awesome. Yeah, I think for me personally, it's always fun to do at home, but it can't replace the experience of the spa of somebody, just pampering you, because at home I would have my face mask on, but I'm still working on my computer, so it's not the same. Your mind is constantly on 24/7 work. But there's another question for you. So for those, I guess there's an increase from masseuse to come to the house, and how do you feel about that? Do you think that's safe? Do you think that's encouraged? Because obviously, everybody still needs to make a living, but how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so I have very strong opinions about our industry, the spa industry, and unfortunately in California, we are still mandated to close. But our industry has gone through hours of training on how to do disinfecting and sanitation. What other businesses are currently doing, we've been practicing that already. Now with COVID-19, of course, we just have to do extra measures because there are, things like airborne transmission, things like that. So, but I completely, of course, you want to make sure that you're going with a reputable company or reputable person if it's somebody that you've been working with. I have complete confidence in the work that my industry does, because we've already, we wash our hands all the time. We wipe things down between every client. And so I'm a huge fan of, if you're more comfortable having them come over to your home to do it so that you can be more relaxed, definitely. that's my view. I'm a little biased.
Awesome. David, there's actually a question for you for the male's perspective, I guess. Asking if what else or how else can you self-care as a guy? How else can you self-care as a guy without going to if you don't like to go to the gym? What else do you do?
So you can do body workouts. There's certain apps that you can look all over. I personally use a Peloton app for everything. It has strength, it has meditation, it has yoga, cycling, walking, treadmill, running. I mean, it has everything. It has strength training where you can do weights with dumbbells. And then as I get older, I'm going to change the weights, right, so that it doesn't put so much strain on the body. But just the discipline to wake up every day and try something new. The app is kind of game-based where it tracks all your stats. So it's fun to me. So I always want my stats to go up and, do it every day and show that I can have a continuous streak of 60 days, which is like the max streak that they have on there. And achieving that was like one of my goals. And then I fell off right after that. So I got to do it all over again. So that's my new drive, is to hit 60 one more time. So I think it's the discipline and the motivation to utilize an app potentially. But you can just do all body weight workouts. They have those on apps as well, where you're just doing push-ups and sit-ups and things like that to keep in shape.
Awesome. Thank you, David. And I wanted to also share with you our next workshop that's coming up for SSK Foundation. We have the next one topic is about, should school be open and what changes can we expect? And I know this is a controversial right now because a lot of kids are going to school, and I'm a parent myself, so I'm on the fence for this. So this will be very interesting. And our speakers, we have school principals, school counselor, and school dean. So looking forward to that. Please make sure you sign up for that as well. It's going to be on Saturday, September 5th at 4 p.m. But if you do have questions and you are watching this on the rebroadcast after it goes live, then please feel free to keep engaging and asking your questions. I will get back onto the rebroadcast and answer those questions. And if I can't answer those questions myself, like I said, I will get those questions to the appropriate party to give you the right answer or the right contact. And if nobody else have questions, I think we are done. Thank you, everybody. And anyone else have questions? We're good? Yay! All right, thank you, everyone. See you on September 5th. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you very much. This will all be on replay on Facebook and YouTube as well. And Wintu is saying great information. Thank you. Thank you to speakers. Thank you to speakers. Cami says thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to turn off.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was informative for you. Don't forget to follow SSK Foundation on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also email us and message us to sign up for the next workshop and future events. Until next time, bye!